about the money, money, money. We don't need your money, money, money. We just want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. Ain't about the cha-ching, cha-ching. Ain't about the but bling. Wanna make the world dance. Forget about the price tag. Listen.
Okay, everybody, this is Rama on Writing coming to you live from a beautiful, very summery feeling Sedona, Arizona. Well, we had our first try at the theme song. I hope you all liked that. I chose this song because when I speak with many authors, the first thing they tell me is that they're not doing this for the money. So that's what struck me. Now, of course, we really are doing it, for the money, gang, okay? We aren't altruistic or that altruistic where we're willing to spend, $5,000 or $6,000 to produce a book and then not sell it. Okay, so the majority of us are doing it for the money, but we don't want to put that face on in front. So that's kind of why I thought this song was more appropriate than any other song. Okay, today's topic is a very interesting topic. It's about, let's say, niche book distribution. And there are some advantages and some disadvantages related to this. All of our books will get into the Ingram catalog, okay? The Ingram catalog is what bookstores use to order books. CreateSpace's distribution gets us there. It takes 6 weeks, according to Darnita, who researched this for me. So thank you, Darnita. Just because your book is in the Ingram catalog does not mean that bookstores are going to immediately order books, okay? One of the big issues that we face as self-published authors is that we are not alone. There are thousands and perhaps millions of people like us that have books that they've published, and now they have to figure out how to sell it. You're not going to really be found in the Ingram catalog. So, what else is out there? There are niche distribution companies. In the write-up that I put together, the little topic write-up, I identified 3. 2 of them I have personally ordered books for when I had my health food store. The third one, Molly Nelson tracked down because one of the businesses that she spoke to said, we don't order books unless they're in the divorce catalog. So that's where I've come up with the 3 companies that we're going to address today. The first 2 companies, New Leaf Books, Redwing Books, are both very new agey type of distribution companies. In addition to books, they carry meditation aids and CDs and tarot cards and things like that. In my health food store, I ordered from both of these companies, and I felt that I was really slick to have found them. And it worked out really well. Now, the first thing about book distributors is that you need to submit a book to them. And if we go back to Tom's lecture on press releases, what he mentioned is that make contact. Find out what they want. Do they want a print version? Do they want an ebook version? Do they want an outline. What the heck do they want? Okay. Now, in that call, you're doing two things. Number one, you're finding out what they want. You're going to find out the name of whom, or is that who? I'm not sure. My English isn't that good. That's why I have a copy editor. So if you can track down the name of the person, you're in a better shape, because then you can make your submission addressed to a person. Plus, your name may be being floated around the office if you made an impact on whomever you spoke to. Ways of getting brownie points, gang. So you want to make the contact, then you want to submit the book and backup information the way they want it. Don't assume that they want it this way or that way. Find out. So on my little reminder that went out, I linked up to the two pages, the page on New Leaf and the page on Redwing, that talks about submission. On the Divorce site, it's also got a submission page. I just didn't find it for that reminder. And what do you give up when you work with a book distributor? First thing you give up is profit. If you're going to have someone distribute your book for you or help you, you have to pay them. They're not going to do this because you've got a pretty face, although in my case, maybe they will. No, I'm only kidding. So we give up profit. Now, the other thing that we give up is more profit. Okay, now what am I referring to? Basically, gang, when you work with a distributor, one of the reasons why a store will buy from a distributor is so if your book doesn't sell, they can return them to the distributor. Okay, well, again, gang, you've printed the book, you've sent it out to somebody, and now it comes back. It gets you less profit, and it can run into expense. So if it appears that you're doing really well through a book distributor, they sold 10,000 books, be aware that some of those books may come back to you, and that cuts down on the profit. Now, one of the things that I gather, I don't know for sure, but this is what I suspect, is that when you work with a book distributor, you actually have to print the books and send them to them. Okay? First you get a submission, they look at every book and they decide, boy, Tom Carroll's Oracle fits in really well with what we're doing. Tom, we want to order 5,000 copies of your book, 1,000 copies, 500, 100, whatever their numbers are. Who pays for that? Well, guess what, gang? You pay for it. Okay, so this may or may not be an effective way for us to market. Okay, very important to think about this. It's good to play the card. Contact these companies if you think that you're a fit for them, and find out what the gig is. Find out what they are going to ask you for. Now, those 3 distributors that I've mentioned are, their niche is spiritual, self-help, new agey type books, okay? I had a health food store, and I ordered from New Leaf and Redwing, okay? So that was, where I ordered books. I was not going to go through the Ingram catalog. And, that was just too many books on too many different topics. And I think that in a smaller niche distributor, you might get a little more information related to the book. Now, one of the things that I have noticed, and some of you I've asked you to do this, others I haven't, but I've been on the Redwing side, I've been on the New Leaf side, I've been on the Divorce side, I've been on City Books or City Light Book site. I've been to a lot of sites that show a book catalog. And if I were putting myself into a book buyer's position and I went to these sites to find books that I thought would be appropriate for my bookstore, I would take one look and I would run the other way. Okay, now why would I do this? Because I would have to invest way too much time to try to determine whether Jill's book presented that way on the site was right for me. Why? Because they were way too wordy in description, that I wouldn't even be able to wade through those descriptions to determine whether I wanted to stock this book. Some of you have been instructed by me to write what's called a 6-word book blurb, and a 25-word book blurb, and a 150-word book blurb. Why? Okay, and this is critical, and nobody's talking about this, gang. This is a Rama concept, and I truly think I'm on the mark here, and I can't understand why why everyone else isn't thinking the same way. Okay, first thing, this day and age is a fast media day and age. We are no longer readers, we are scanners. Okay, 6-word book blurb is scannable, gang. So if I'm on a catalog site and I see Jill's book with a 6-word book blurb that is intriguing, I'm going to click the read more, okay? But I haven't had to invest hardly any time to determine that Jill's book does have potential for me to stock. Because she provided the 6-word book blurb, I got it. Oh yeah, that's perfect. That's the type of book I want in my store. I'm going to click to the next. Maybe that's a 25-word book blurb. Say, well, that may be all I need to read. You know, I'm sold. Jill's book is key. I want to stock this in my store. And in addition to that 25-word one, there's going to be a longer one so that the buyer can become even more familiar. But the advertising hook is the 6-word book blurb. Okay, now, a couple of things that I've noticed, and this is not on topic of the book distributor, it's on the topic of us being a book distributor, okay? 6-word book blurb, gang, is gonna be key to get someone to click to the next step. So if you are going to have a book blurb on your website, if you're going to have a book blurb on Amazon Author Central, if you're going to have a book blurb on Facebook, if you're going to have a book blurb on Goodreads, start off with the 6-word book blurb. Get the hook in there, gang. If you can hook them in 6 words, you've really got a customer, okay? If you can hook them with your 6 words, you've got a sale. Whether that sale comes today or whether it comes a week from today, I can't say for sure. You know, people have weird buying habits, but if you can get them to click to the next page or the next write-up, you know, you're doing great. This is like that fishing hook. You got the fish to nibble. Now you need to get that hook embedded, okay? 25-word book blurb will do it. 150-word book blurb will help if necessary. But scanning is how we are going to make impact on our audience. Okay, so let me go back to distribution real quick. I posted 2 articles this morning on the Rama on Writing Facebook page. One of them was a Wikipedia write-up that showed a number of book distributors. If this is something that interests you to pursue, start clicking on those links and find out about those companies. Some are niche companies. Jill's book might not be appropriate for Redwing, but it might be appropriate for one of the other distributors if that's a route that she wanted to take. It does require a little bit of researching through, and I recommend playing the card. Okay, because you did a submission doesn't mean that, number one, they're going to accept you, and number two, that you're going to accept them. Once you hear the deal, you might say, geez, I don't want to do this. I give up too much of my profit. Okay, just like with Amazon, you give up profit on the sale. The goal is that they're going to make up that profit in volume. Okay, it's a strategy. It's worth playing the card. Okay, you can make the decision later on down the road. And there was I saw something come up through the chat. What percentage do you give up? And I can't say for sure, but when you sell through an Amazon or a Barnes and Nobles, you have had to wholesale your book to them. Okay, so when you get represented by a New Leaf or a Redwing or a Divorce, you got to even give up more than wholesale, because Redwing has to sell your book at a wholesale price to that health food store. So how much more profit do you give up? I can't answer that. This is something that you guys have to discover on your own by connecting with those distributors. And unfortunately for me, those 3 distributors would be a little bit of a reach for my first book. Maybe not my second or third book. So I probably, by the time I get to the 3rd book, I probably will start to investigate the Redwing and the New Leaf and the Divorce and find out what it is that I have to give up. Now, you hear me say give up. What am I giving up? I'm giving up profit. One of the things that many of you are thinking right now, and I'm referring to Leah and Darnita and Jean and Molly and Anaria and Dominique, because they have fresh books out there, right? And when you have a fresh book, the first thought in your mind is that I need to get every penny out of my book. I spent all this time, all this money. I don't want to discount my book. 30 days from now, your mentality will shift, and you'll realize that giving a book away could reap huge benefits. Okay, so let me take one step back, and then I'm going to close down this presentation and move to the Q&A. What I want to talk about just briefly is submission. Submissions, not submission. Okay, and I'm going to extend. There are places that you may want to submit your book to for distribution, for a review, for a book blog. Okay, the strategy is always the same. Contact the person first. If you can get your principal on the phone, they will hear your voice, and if you pitch your 6-word book blurb, they will remember you, okay? Because no one else is doing this. No one else is pitching a 6-word book blurb, okay? If you hook them with the 6 words to the point where they want to see your book, you're there. You have made a customer, okay? Where it goes from there is anybody's guess. So you need to verify what form they want the book in. You have to verify what support information they want. Usually they want an author bio. Okay. Now, if we go back to last week's webinar real quickly, what was the key to the author bio? Your keywords. So if you prepare an author bio or a 150-word book blurb, even a 25-word book blurb or a 6-word book blurb with your keywords or one of your keywords embedded, included, they're going to see that you have a lot more sense than 99% of all the other authors that they've talked to, because no one is thinking along these lines. I mean, I can't believe that I'm the only one that's thinking this way, but from what I've encountered over and over again, I tend to think that, people are lost. They have no clue of what they're doing, okay? So think about this. What is the support information? They might just want a table of contents. They might want what would be called a, darn it, I can't remember what it was called for a screenplay. It was called a beat sheet. So they might want something like that, as opposed to the whole book. They might want, a treatment is another term. It's sometimes called a beat sheet. It's a summary, okay? It's a summary that kind of takes people through what are the main highs and lows of the book. It might not be very different from your poster board, except laid out in a different form, okay? Okay, gang, that is the presentation. I'm going to close out again with the new theme song here, because it's just so much fun to play music here. So we're going to go back here real quick and close it out. I'll be back in a moment. Once I close out the recording, I'll bring up the next computer and we'll get into our Q&A.
It's not about the money, money, money. We don't need your money, money, money. We just want to make the world dance. Forget about the price tag.